Hey everybody, Joe here. So today we're doing another dehydrating video, and we're going to do up a batch of carrots. I've got 4.5 pounds of carrots here. Inside that bowl, I got my dehydrator, scale for weighing them before and after. I got this pot here. What we're going to do is peel all of our carrots. We're going to cut them up into roughly 1/4 inch thick pieces. Then we're going to load them up in here with boiling water. We have to blanch them for 3 to 4 minutes. While they're blanching, I'll have a sink full of ice water waiting. Once we blanch them, 3 to 4 minutes, we take them off the heat, drain them, and put them in the ice water because we want to stop the cooking. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me peel all of these carrots, so I'll just get started here. And then we're going to pause the video, and I'll keep on peeling, and then we'll start the video up again once we're ready to go on to the next step. Okay, we're back. So we got our carrots, the ends cut off, all peeled. I got a pile of peelings here. I'm going to leave those for now. I'm going to use those in something later on, not today for this video. They are going to be used in a vegetable broth. Next step is we got to clean all of our carrots, wash them all off, and after that we'll be ready to cut them up into pieces. Going to take the colander. Well, we lost one. We'll wash that one again. So now we are ready to start cutting carrots. So what we want is little pieces about 1/4 inch. Little slices. And when they dehydrate, they're going to come out really small, but they're excellent for use in soup. Now, you probably don't want to watch me slicing up 4.5 pounds of carrots. So once again, we will pause the video, and I'll be back with the next step. Okay, we're back. So we've got our carrots all cut up. Initially we cut off the tops and bottoms, then we peeled them, then we cut them up into roughly 1/4 inch pieces. The really big ones, we sliced them up a little bit first. That's what we have. Got the water boiling, and now it's time to blanch them. We want about 3 to 4 minutes with blanching. Perfect. I wasn't sure if they'd all fit in one batch or if I'd have to do it twice. But one batch it is. We start timing now. 3 to 4 minutes. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to get the sink filled with ice water. And as soon as this is ready, off the stove, into the ice water to stop the cooling, to stop the cooking process, to stop the cooking process. I'll get it right. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. We got them off the stove. We're draining them out here using our double pot system. Get them out of the hot water, and they're going into the ice water. We want to completely stop the cooking process. There we go. Scoop out those last two here. Sink full of cold water with a bunch of ice packs in it, and we're just going to stir them around, make sure they cool down nicely. I'm going to leave them sitting there for a few minutes to make sure they've cooled off, and then I'll come back and we'll get them loaded up onto the dehydrator. And we're back, and now we're ready to start loading up the dehydrator with the carrots. We're going to spread them out. We don't want them touching each other. We want lots of room for the air to flow around them as they dry. So this dehydrator has 5 trays, and we're just going to get them all loaded up, and we'll get this thing fired up. Now you don't want to watch me load 5 trays of carrots. So as usual, now that we've got it started, I'm going to pause the video for a couple of minutes, get the rest of these trays loaded up, and then we'll show you some more. We'll be right back. Well, apparently I did not hit the record button for this next section, so instead just a few photos and I'll talk about this next stage. Once the dehydrator was fully loaded up, put the lid on it, set the temperature to 135 degrees and turned it on and walked away. It took about 15 hours to properly dehydrate, and I'll be adding another video clip here right after this to show the end result as I put them away and talk about how I like to use them. And that's about it. I'll be right back with the rest. Okay, so we're back. The dehydrator is run for about 15 hours and they're nice and crispy and they're ready to put away. Turned it off a while ago, let them cool down a bit before I swing them away. Just bear with me here. As mentioned earlier, there was a part of the video that I thought I shot yesterday, but didn't, so I made up for that with a few photos and just talking about the process a little bit. But to review, once the dehydrator was loaded up, I set it at 135 degrees, turned it on, walked away, rotated the trays around a few times, every couple hours or so, and it took about 15 hours roughly for them to fully dehydrate. Now what I like to use these for throughout the year, throw them in soups and stews, sometimes use them in stir fries, sometimes we'll put them into a pasta sauce when I'm making up a nice sauce, and I really like to take them out on camping trips, whether it's sea kayak trips, canoe tripping, backpacking, bicycle touring. They're great for that. It gets rid of all the weight, but you still can put them in for some really good meals. Yesterday when I was getting this started, the 4.5 pounds of carrots, it ended up being too much for the 5 trays on this dehydrator, so I had to get out my spare dehydrator and I loaded up another 3 trays on that as well. I've already put those ones away. Now, to get a feel for what this actually weighs, I'm going to set the dehydrator aside. We're going to get out our trusty scale. I have a second mason jar here, same as this one. So we're going to balance this out to 0 on the scale. We're going to see what the actual carrot weight is. Now we started out with 4.5 pounds of carrots, and we now have not even half a pound. We have about 7 ounces. That's not even half a pound from 4.5 pounds. So this is going to be great for backpacking later this year, sea kayak trips, canoe tripping, or just using around the house here, throwing them in soups, pasta sauces, you name it. Anyways, there you go. 4.5 pounds of carrots in a 500 milliliter mason jar. You gotta love it. Talk to you soon. Okay, so just to review, we started off with 4.5 pounds of carrots yesterday. We cut off the tops and bottoms, we peeled them, washed them, cut them into 1/4-inch pieces roughly, put them in a pot of boiling water to blanch them for 3.5 minutes, drained them, put them into a sink full of ice water to stop the cooking process and cool them down. After that, drain them, let them dry a little bit, rub them down with paper towels, dry them, load up the dehydrator, filled up the 5 trays. I actually had enough for 8 trays, so I had to get out the second dehydrator as well, which you didn't see. I did that. Set the temperature to 135 degrees, and it took about 15 hours to dehydrate them properly. I rotated the trays around probably three or four times, and let me see now. Reason for the blanching: they'll rehydrate faster when you're ready to use them by blanching them first. They'll also last longer, and the orange color, they stay nice and orange. As you can see here, they still look pretty good. Otherwise, they're going to sort of lighten up in color a little bit. What do I use them for? I like using them in soups. I'll sometimes put them into a pasta sauce, use them on stir fry, etc. All kinds of uses. I take them on sea kayak camping trips, canoe tripping, backpacking, bicycle touring, as well as obviously using them around here at the house on a regular basis. Downstairs in our storage cellar, we've got a shelf with all kinds of this stuff in it, and for longer term use, you can even put them in the freezer and they'll keep for years. That's about it. If you're making a stew or a soup, you can just toss them right in and they'll rehydrate as it's cooking. Or if you want to rehydrate them first to use them in the dish, you can get out a container, put in some carrots, and then just put in enough water to cover them over and just a little bit extra on top, and leave them there for a number of hours. Or what I sometimes do when I'm camping, for instance, is I'll put them into a little container with water before going to bed, and then they're ready the next day to use them whatever I'm going to do. I used to do that with potatoes a lot for hash browns. Anyways, that's about it. There's all kinds of things you can do with these, and they will last you a long time. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll talk to you again soon.